Also, the day of that tornado that went through Coal City and Diamond, I was in a meeting, and we had moved to the basement over at the church. And my buddy called me from over at Diamond, and he says, "Jim, you got to come over here." So we went over there, a few of us, and I could not believe the devastation that was there. 20 minutes later, we get a telephone call from Red Cross. He said, "Mr. Beers, can you help with this situation?" I said, "What are you looking for?" You know, well, one of your friends said, "Call you." And I said, "Okay." I says, "I'll call Father, our parish priest, and see if we could use the hall." We opened up that hall. Within 2 hours, we sent over 700 meals to the Presbyterian Church out of that Catholic hall. That's bringing the communities together, no matter in need or not in need. That's what we have to do, is work with our communities. Thank you.
Okay, also for public health and safety candidates, newly appointed police officers seem to have a high turnover rate. Considering the high cost of training these new officers, what do you think needs to be done to retain new officers?
Well, in my opinion, I think we have enough officers. I think we have enough running this town right now. Well, you know, that is a touchy situation because you can't find all your qualified in this small community. We do have to outreach, and we do have to find help outside of our community. I would direct and see their training. Is the question about experienced or non-experienced? Let's say beginners or veterans. You know what I mean. What I'm trying to say is that if an officer wants to come in this and he's fully trained, and he will make the drive, or he'll move to our community, we do have to make it worthwhile. Yeah, we do. We do have to give them a good wage. Yes, we do, and all the time that they put in, and everything. As far as new hires, well, you know, I mean, I don't have the contract in front of me, the union contract in front of me, but I don't know if there's apprentice type with the police department or not. I'm not sure on that, if they start at a lower rate or not. But I do think there should be a standard set of our police officers, what they have to know and what they don't, what they should know. And I think there's a lot of interviewing, and I think the chief will help out a lot on that, because the chief should be command trained. He should have all the necessities he knows in hiring, and that would be his department. Because I'm more into the budget and the safety part, making sure our citizens are protected and our businesses are protected and our police officers are acting kindly. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
Newly appointed police officers seem to have a high turnover rate. Considering the high cost of training these new officers, what do you think needs to be done to retain new officers?
As I stated earlier in my opening remarks, the reason for a high turnover rate is for the simple fact of our low wages, and also too, there has been some disciplinary actions we had to take as a council. The process for hiring police officers, basically they have to qualify. They have to score a certain score on written tests and then a physical test, and then they get assigned in an order per point system. That list goes to the police and fire board, and then they give us recommendations who to hire, and that's how the hiring process goes. Also hiring other experienced cops, retired cops from other municipalities, it's called a lateral transfer. They're on a separate list. What we like to see, unfortunately, this is a bad thing to say, but like Kankakee Sheriff's Department, we were going to get a few good cops from them if they had to make their cuts. It's an unfortunate thing to see, but that's one way to save costs on training officers. It costs about 15 to 20 grand to train an officer. So once we do that, we like to keep them here. And the previous contract was pretty loaded on wasteful money, like I said earlier. A lot of comp time, a lot of checks the city had to write for time not being used. We try to make the police officers use that vacation time instead of cashing the vacation time. And by eliminating those things, we have been able to increase the wages for a police officer. We have made it to where the beginning wage for a first-time police officer is around $20. I have the roster here. This is from last year, but we range from $39 an hour for Deputy Chief Kaminsky all the way to $20.40. It's a good wage, but it's hard to compete with larger towns. And also, the amount of police officers we have, so everyone knows, we have 14 full-time police officers right now and 4 part-timers. One of the full-time police officers is a dedicated investigator, and then one of the part-timers is our resource officer, Vern Reed, for the schools. So, that's all I have.